Well, come back students, come back to my study. Today we are going to read the second poem of Syllabus by Arthur Rimbaud. Arthur Rimbaud is a wonderful French poet. He was born in the year 1854. But the first collection of his poem was published in the year 1870 when he was just 16 years old. It was a landmark event in the literary history of the world. Though the beginning of his career is remarkably striking, it could not survive long. It came to an end at the age of 19. The productive period is only 3 years. He stopped writing poetry and joined the army as a soldier. The period is short, but the productions have made him immortal with all grandeur and pomp. His literary works have had tremendous reconstructive and deconstructive effect on the poets and artists of the subsequent ages. He is regarded as one of the creators of free verse. He was a rare talent, a distinguished genius. He has used simple words and imageries to create an aesthetic world where there remains no distinction between the reality and the imagination. Arthur Rimbaud has become a monument, a peak for the exploration of the poets and critics of the world throughout the ages after his death in 1891 at the age of 37 only. Our day's topic is Arthur Rimbaud's Asleep in the Valley. The poem is a sonnet, and to be more precise, a Petrarchan sonnet. In this context, it won't be unwise to say that Petrarch is the father of Italian sonnet, which has been constructed and reconstructed by the poets of the world, sometimes blindly and sometimes with novel variations, though the number of lines is always the same, 14. The variations are found in the grouping of the lines and in the rhyme scheme of the poem. However, this poem has two parts. The first part has 2 stanzas of 4 lines each. So this part has 8 lines, and for this it is called an octet, a group of 8 lines. The second part has 2 short stanzas of 3 lines each. This part has 6 lines in all, and for this it is called a sestet, a group of 6. The first 4 lines of the poem have drawn a beautiful picture of a deep valley. The second 4 lines have given the picture of a young soldier lying down in the valley. The first 3 lines of the sestet have described his appearance on the lap of caring nature. The final triplet has revealed the fact, the message of the poem. This is the scheme for the arrangements of the lines of the poem. It is an anti-war poem which reveals the futility of war, the death, the destruction. But this heavy and grim subject is placed in the poem with the use of simple words and imageries. And this has given the reader an uninterrupted flow of pleasure in reading poetry with heavy themes and thought. Some of his famous literary works are The Drunken Boat, La Illuminations, and A Season in Hell. Now, we'll read the poem to have the taste of poetry and the poet's art of placing his thought, his outlook, his philosophy in his poem. Come to the Title of the poem, Asleep in the Valley. The title has two parts, you see, asleep and in the valley. Asleep and in the valley. Valley, what is a valley, you know? Valley is a low place between two mountains. Generally, it is protected and it is beautiful. And asleep. Asleep means what? Asleep means someone sleeping. Why is someone asleep in the valley? Why is someone not awake in the valley? What is the poet going to say in the poem? All these questions create a kind of curiosity in the mind of the reader, which leads him to go through the whole poem from the beginning to the end. And there lies the mastery of the poet. Let's read the first 4 lines of the octet. Here the poet has drawn the image of a beautiful valley, the image of how it looks, and what are the elements used to give the image of perfections. Now I will read these lines and you are requested to listen to me carefully. Okay? A small green valley where a slow stream flows and leaves long strands of silver on the bright grass. From the mountain top streams the sun's rays. They fill the hollow full of light. These are the first 4 lines. A small green valley where a slow stream flows and leaves long strands of silver on the bright grass. From the mountain top stream the sun's rays. They fill the hollow full of light. Now I'll underline a few important words and phrases, then see their uses and explanations. The first one is strands. What do you mean by strands? It means threads, fibers, ribbons, patches, strips, long strands of silver. Strands of silver means long strands of silver, long patches of mark, long silver patches of mark, long patches of mark which is silver in color. That means almost white in color. Okay, now written strands means threads, fiber, ribbons, patches and strips. Now underline hollow. Hollow means what? Hollow means empty space. Empty space. It may be empty space means, you know, this is the mountain and this is the mountain and this is the valley. So this is empty space, as if this is what the poet wants to mean, empty space. It may be that the poet wants to say that the valley is deserted, lonely, there is no person found anywhere. This is what the poet seems to say. Okay, so it is hollow. Now 2 expressions, slow stream. Slow streams, slow, and another one is strands of silver. Strands of silver, slow stream and strands of silver. These are the examples of alliterations. You have learned it from my previous lessons. Alliteration. What is an alliteration? An alliteration is the figure of speech in which a letter or a sound is repeated at the beginning of 2 or more successive words. I said alone, alone, all alone, alone on a wide, wide sea. Alone, alone, all alone. I said alone, alone, all alone, alone on a wide, wide sea. This is called alliteration. A sound, a sound, a sound, a sound, a sound. This a sound is repeated at the beginning of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successive words. And this Y sound, W sound is repeated at the beginning of 2 successive words. For this it is called alliteration. Alliteration. Here slow stream, S sound, S sound. Strands of silver, S sound, S sound. These are the examples of alliteration. Okay, this is the examples of alliteration. Now come to the poem. See what the lines are saying. The first line, a small green valley. It is a small green valley where a slow stream flows. Where a slow stream flows, that means here a stream flows slowly and leaves long strands of silver on the bright grass. Here the stream leaves a long white patches or mark on the bright grass, on the bright grass. And from the mountain top streams the sun's rays. The sun is shining from the mountain top. They fill the hollow full of light. These rays fill the whole valley with complete brightness. These rays fill the whole valley with complete brightness. So you got that it is a small valley. It is covered with green grass. Here a stream, a small river flows slowly. It looks like long silver patches across the green grass, brightened by the rays of the sun which is shining from the mountain top to fill the whole valley with complete brightness. Okay, students, after this, in this section of this lesson, the rest of the poem will be discussed in the next part of this lesson, which will come shortly, because the next part begins with a description of a soldier. You saw description of a soldier, very young soldier. It is a different picture. For this, let's stop here. Bye. Wish you a pleasant time of reading poetry. Thank you.